Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show. I was going to sing a little ditty about Silly Billy. He's really silly. He's so dumb. He's got none. See, I'm a rapper. I can be a rapper. See, I can rap. Reason why I start out with that is because I was listening to a program somebody sent me to listen to from Ireland. Them Irish are pretty smart, I gotta tell you. Got one of the most well-renowned geneticists on the planet. Comes right out and says that the whole damn thing is a lie. I mean, we've heard this. I've said it. Other people have said it. Medical people are saying it. Geneticists are saying it. Yet we got Tam the scam. See, I told you I can be a rapper. And bending the ear of the Prime Minister. Makes you wonder who's the sinister, She comes right out and says there's absolutely no reason for us to be locked down. If we had all been outside and got exposed, we'd have developed an immunity. And you know what she said about the immunity to the corona, which was really interesting? Once you've got the immunity, you are no longer have to deal with it anymore. You're done. You get it, you get hit, the body passes through your body, and it's done. Can you imagine that? Look at all the bullshit we are hearing. The boogeyman. Wear the gloves. She even tells you if you don't need the gloves, you don't need the mask. It's all bullshit. I've been saying that forever. I've been saying that the only people that get anything out of this are the people who've invested in the latex hand condoms and the facial mask that they want everybody to wear. It's ludicrous. And yet we got premiers in Canada that are propagating this bullshit. I wonder how much the premiers of Ontario have invested in masks and rubbers. Hand rubbers. I'm going to call them what they are, hand rubbers. Put them on your hand, you have safe sex. Like I said before, you don't have to worry about anything. Oh, look, my glove. It'll protect me. It'll protect me from any disease because now I'm wearing my protection. Like that's going to stop anything, wearing the gloves. Seriously? Wearing a mask, that's going to stop something? What's that going to stop? What about the rest of your body? How come they didn't supply everybody with a body condom? I'm serious. Why didn't they supply everybody with a body condom? Because they couldn't make enough money on it. That's why. If this thing was as bad as they said it was, holy shit, we should have all been wearing body condoms. We should have wrapped a condom around our houses. We should have wrapped a condom around our cars. Hell, we should have been wrapping a condom around our toilet seats. Around our doorknob. Hey, where's my condom? Put it on that doorknob there, will you? Well, we'll be safe. Isn't that what they used to call condoms? Safes? Think about that for a minute. I think Silly Billy should have invested in safes. Then he could have propagated sex, sold his condoms, and he would have made money. Instead, now I think this is all going to backfire on everybody, and I think seriously, we need to seriously stop this shit from going any further. The geneticist in Ireland was saying the same thing. We need to put a stop to this. Police have no business harassing people like a little kid playing basketball in a basketball court where there's nobody around. Okay, there's a police officer that came out the other day and made a speech similar to what everybody else is saying. Then somebody said that this guy was a fraud. They're playing both sides. Not sure about that one, to be honest with you. If he goes back to the police force and they welcome him back with open arms and love and they have forgiven him of all his wrongdoings and his trespasses, then maybe I would agree then. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. I mean, like I said, this is with the internet, you don't know. It's one day one person's a hero. The next day someone comes along and smears their name, and then you don't know if the person smearing their name is part of the agenda to weaken the status of what was said. I mean, this goes on all the time on the internet, so hopefully nobody's falling for anything. Just take a wait-and-see attitude. But the reality of it all is this has been the bullshit of the century. The bullshit of the century. And she even made a comment. Remember they said they had bats? They found some bats and went in the cave and got some bat shit in order to make this bat shit corona. Remember that? She said there were no bats being sold at that market that day. None. Zero. Nada. What was really going on? You know, like I said, it's all about contorting the truth, bending it every which way you can, you know, lying about things. Okay, before I go on, okay, what I did tonight, Yanni contacted me earlier and they said they took one of the videos down, one of the audios that I did on some speech and an oration that we had on the show. So they took one down. So now what I'm doing is I'm downloading the link that Yanni has when he puts the shows up, and I'm also putting up HookTube. So you can have both links. So if they do take the YouTube channel down, you got HookTube. So share the HookTubes as well. Like I said, to neutralize this kind of censorship, we use them and then go to an alternative. It's just like when you get sick, you go to a doctor. Doctor gives you a diagnosis. Oh, you're gonna die. We need to open you up. We need to have surgery, and you're gonna. Doctor, what am I dying of? Oh, you got this and that and whatever, and oh, geez. Okay, let me go home and think about that. Okay, so you go home and say, you know what? I'm not letting that doctor near me. That guy's a ding dong. And I'll try to figure out how to heal myself. That's what you should be doing. Same thing with what's going on today. I still say we should have a non-confidence vote in Canada, remove the parliament, replace it with a brand new parliament, one that isn't coerced by the special interest groups, and get rid of this. Or disband the country, disband this as a federation, or confederation, and form a more perfect union. Eliminate this whole confederation idea, and then once that happens, guess what? All the laws and all the regulations fall to dust. And anybody, even a premier, would even try to enforce these laws would be ill-advised. Because at that point, you will have a revolution, because there is no confederation. There's nothing. And this puts everybody on an equal footing. I think that's where we need to be. And this charade that we're calling a government, this is not a government, this is a joke. I mean, it's a horrendous joke. You know, to listen to an advisor from the WHO, there's no, I can't even say what it is because I don't know what it is that's advising him. You know, it doesn't know its ass from a hole in the ground. I guess that's the best way of putting it. I don't know what it is. It has hair like a woman, an Adam's apple like a man, has the facial features of a man. It's got a frame of a female. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but if it's of an alien species, ho ho ho. Something like that could hurt anybody's eyes. But the advice that they're giving is just terrible. Just terrible. And this is what I don't get either. And maybe somebody can explain this to me, because I'm pretty stupid here. I gotta admit, I'm pretty stupid. You got geneticists all over the world saying it's bullshit. You got doctors all over the world saying it's bullshit. You got herbalists and alternative representatives in health are saying it's bullshit. You got doctors that are using our complementary alternative medicines, which are saying it's bullshit. Yet nobody listens to these doctors, they're calling this bullshit. I wonder why. Oh wait, perhaps Silly Billy bought out the government. Silly Billy. Oh, Mr. Silly Billy. We need to, as Canadians and as Americans, Europeans, we need to take the bull by the horn, and any representative that's been bought and paid for by special interest groups or lobbying groups should be suspended right then and there, removed from office, get a replacement, somebody off the street, and eliminate this, nipping this in the bud. The very idea that someone can come in and offer a prime minister $1.2 million, he said he got an inheritance, but it makes me wonder if he really did. So let's say Silly Billy, hypothetically, gave the Prime Minister $1.2 million in his bank account. Now he turns around and says, okay, I'm going to hand Canada to you. Wow, that's a cheap. Don't you feel so cheap, Canadians? Don't you feel cheap that for $1.2 million, Prime Minister's going to sell you down the toilet? Holy jeez, man. Tam, the scam. It's interesting. We're living in times where people, and some people, I'm amazed. I really am amazed. I would never have thought in a million years that most people are dumb as a bag of rocks. That if you told them to tie their shoe, they'd be looking for a Velcro strap. I mean, seriously, this is pathetic. Not able to look at and check the difference, seeing what's going on and thinking it through and following the dots. How can anybody? This is in my mind now. How can anybody believe in the government? How can anybody believe in the media? She was saying the media needs to be taken to task and be legally sued. I agree. Right across Canada, CBC, CBET, all of them, CTV, every one of them should be sued, held for accountability and liability for propagating false news. We're always worried about the internet producing false news. Came from NBC, CBC, CBS, ABC. They all should be sued and hard for what they propagated. No evidence, couldn't validate anything, couldn't prove anything, yet was putting out there the numbers that were highly fabricated. Even the geneticists said the same thing. Most people that did die from a COVID condition were in their 80s, and they're saying that they didn't die of COVID either. They died because they had other health issues. So how could the news propagate the bullshit they did? This is really, intriguing that they've taken the national trust and screwed everybody with it. Amazing. I wonder how much they got paid. Not from the local television companies, but from the lobbying groups, the silly billy eugenicist groups. Makes you wonder. We are in a quagmire. But those of us who are waking up, and more people were awakening, and more people are getting fed up with this whole shutdown. The geneticist was saying there was no reason why anybody can go back to work in a week. Now in Canada, we have become a disjointed country. 3 bills have been passed or being passed: Nova Scotia, Ontario, and Alberta. So we don't know where this country is going at this stage. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know if they're going to break away. We don't know if they're going to form an alliance of their own. We don't know for sure. But I will say this. The players they put in the roles they put into, in order to accomplish their agenda, they couldn't have picked a better parliament and prime minister to do it. Like I said, it's sad. I'm not a partisan type person. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm not an NDP. I'm none of those. I truly try to avoid the whole political spectrum because I think it's a joke anyway. But on the same token, if everybody started showing up at these offices with a protest sign, and we had, let's say, maybe half the country in Ottawa Street, in Ottawa, I think it'll be the most revolutionary thing that we would have seen to date. Imagine that. We got, I say 33 million, they're saying 37, but anyway, if you took 16.5 million people from Canada and they drove all the way to Ottawa and voiced their discontent with the system and demand a non-confidence vote be passed against this government, I assure you that it would probably happen. It would probably happen. The will of the people, and the next thing is to get rid of Tam the scam, Get rid of her, it, she, whatever it is, I don't know, thing, cousin it, whatever. Get rid of it, send it back to the WHO, tell them the experiment went wrong, they need to alter, make the changes required. It's sad. It really is sad. We're living in a world where, biblically, we look at Romans 1. Romans 1 talks about how in the end days, men would give up natural relations for women, for men, and women would do the same. Now we got men being genetically engineered to be women, and we got women genetically engineered to be men. What is wrong with that picture? What is wrong with that picture? And in that context, when you read Romans 1, it says, those people keep on rejecting God and keep on rejecting God, God will turn them over to a base mind. A base mind is the mind of an animal. You eat, you pee, you exchange DNA, or you get laid and make babies and die. That's all you do. Now, in the case of this, in the context, you could look at it meaning that you have such a base mind that you have no control of your own personal sexuality, or do you have any regard to anybody's sexual? You're like an animal. You basically sniff and boink anything that walks and talks. It's just basically how it goes, like a cat or a dog. You know how a dog, when you take them for a walk and they go to a fire hydrant and they can smell the pheromones or the DNA of another dog. So they now pee on top of that so that their DNA overrides the other dog's DNA. Same kind of thing, same activity. It's coming down to a point where it's the base mind that is where we're at today. If you can't look around you and say, holy geez, something is wrong here. What is going on with the sexuality of mankind? What is happening to it? What is altering this? What is creating this abomination? What's creating this abomination? And why is this being accepted? Why is this being accepted? Because we're supposed to be tolerant? I do not dislike the person who has been engineered or violated or corrupted genetically. This is not their fault. Okay. I do have a problem with the medical field, the pharmaceutical industry, and the geneticists of the planet that would actually tamper with a person and alter their DNA and their genetic code and make them something that they aren't. This exploitation needs to stop. The fact that they're spraying nanites now in the air. How many of you notice that you'll see one or two chemtrails all day and the rest is basically pretty calm depending where you live? Those are nanites they're dropping on us now. Hopefully that they can get inside and create a dangerous situation with our DNA. It's really important that you avoid some of the experimentation that's going on. I'm not saying just stay in the house, but if you see it fairly sunny outside, get your ass out, go for a walk, go to a grocery store, buy what you need, but get outside. I've been experimenting with the sun using a magnifying lens and a not a real refined beam, but a beam of light coming from the sun to touch my skin and certain things where I have to deal with. And I noticed that it has made a significant difference in my strength and my energy levels, even my attitude. So you might want to start exploring that perspective. The geneticist said the same thing. Go for a walk, go outside, go places, breathe. We were designed by God that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, because He gave us such a unique immune system that pretty much anything that would assault us or attack us, we have basically like a protection as a result of the way we were made and created, their immune system, and it needs to be exposed every so often so that it can maintain its strength and integrity. It's just like when you exercise with weights or running, or plyometrics. You exercise in this fashion to sustain strength or durability, flexibility, or whatever it is you're training for. Same thing. So since all these things are going on in the country, our respective countries are illegal, how do we set the precedent to act on illegal fashion, calling to arms all these parliamentarians that have been going along with the media to propagate the lies that they propagated? And again, makes me wonder, how much money does the Prime Minister have to stand to make with maybe inside trading that he might be having as a result of being connected to China? Who knows? Just something that makes me wonder sometime. I'm going to bounce a little bit now to something else. I saw this on a droid DNA. And this alarmed me a little bit. I've been telling you forever, and others have been saying it as well, that the phone attaches to the DNA, but now they've got a phone that's designed to not only access the DNA, but to clamp on to it. Droid 4GT droid DNA. It's an oldie, and I'm sure they've gotten more sophisticated, but you might want to take a look at these videos I posted tonight. And again, I did them both in YouTube and in HookTube, so if it goes down in YouTube, don't sweat it. See if you can pull it off to HookTube. Anyway, it just shows you how, if you look at this, how they've taken a man, made him into a machine, or made him to be able to integrate with a machine, give him access to the mainframe that he's hooked to or jacked in through the phone. Now, don't think for 1 minute that this is not what they're intending to do with you and the rest. They're going to be doing this. This has already started to happen. With the third strain of DNA, somebody sent me this video this morning, and speaker, I can't think of the name of the guy now, basically made a comment about 666 in the DNA strand, because they're adding another 22, or is it 22? Yeah, another 22 chromosomes. So with the 22 that we've got and the other 22, it works out to 666. Now, why are they madly running to get the vaccine program in there? Because they're trying to assimilate acolytes into the Luciferian age with the 666. That number has been spoken about through the Bible and other places, and it's referencing a certain time frame or certain governance under this number that will, for a short time, rule the world. In the end, will be disposed of. But when you look at that commercial, actually, there's two of them. How many remember Lord of the Rings? Remember that little thing that had that big eye? You know, it was basically artificial intelligence is what that was. It was an AI network, and it was right in front of you. They did it through sorcery and connecting sorcery to technology. And here we are today with a phone that has an eye in it, that is attached to your DNA, and has you under its control or its spell. Guy made a comment tonight about a spell that the world is under because of this COVID-19 bullshit. We are under a spell. It's terrible. They, for this period of time, at least the last 80 years, if not longer, have been setting us up for this age of insertion. Download. We are going to be downloaded as a program. Complete assimilation by a network. You know, these are the things we need to really focus on. Imagine if you were in a world of tech and everybody was assimilated. The only way to stop that, you would have to integrate with the AI network some rogue program or nanite or nanobots that couldn't be affected by frequencies or programming and are only attenuated to one frequency or several or mixture of frequencies. so that they couldn't be read by even a quantum computer. Then you'd have to access the AI's network, and you'd have to disengage. It's like iRobot with Bill Willis when he showed you that. This is all happening right in front of us. COVID-19 was designed to wipe out the elderly, loosen the burden of the money that they're living on, so that governments can proclaim their wealth and put it up for ransom. So that was one of the things it was designed to do. The other thing it was designed to do was wipe out those with a pre-existing condition. You know, there was no medical help for these people. None. People, they're saying now people had heart attacks and other health issues that required emergency service they never got. As a result, they died needlessly. The numbers have been completely fabricated. Everybody is saying this now, that the numbers are totally fabricated. Like I said, it's important that we pay attention to our surroundings, because it's, you know, if we don't, it's going to be the death of us. It really is. We are no longer in the good old days. We never were in the good old days. In fact, the good old days were not that good. And we have to understand as well that when we're looking at some of the things that we've been exposed to, you know, everything's being compartmentalized. So as a result, we're isolated. And as a result, once we're isolated, we're easier to program. Because people rely on each other for data or for assurance. So if you take away that connection with other people, you can now jack into their head, or through the media, or through whatever means, whatever it is you want them to believe or think. Someone sent me this video from Multimedia, No Sanctuary, an Isolated Society. How we have been taught that we are going to be in a jail the rest of our lives as long as we're in the country. If you read this article, it's going to be an eye-opener, a total eye-opener. You know, we're no longer in an ethical planet either. Please don't think we're living some ethical, moral high ground here. We're not. We are going to have to deal with these things the way they've dealt with us, and it's going to be pretty difficult because they have had the head start. They have had the jump. Another thing here, we're talking about genetics. Scientists are generating millions of mature human cells in a mouse embryo. This is a chimera technology, chimera biology. We're going to be creating, not us per se, but the medical people and the scientific community are going to create the hybrid that they've always wanted. You know, human DNA integrated with animal DNA to create some kind of chimera. You know, a genetic distortion or a genetic abomination. It's incredible what we're dealing with today. So these are the things that we need to look at to see what's going on, and understand that, you know, it's real, it's happening, and we are no longer can stand and sit on the sidelines. We need to get up, make noise, get active, you know, and do what we can to help each other get through it. Here's something I'm going to put up tonight: a synergistic effect of fasting mimicking diet and vitamin C against KRAS mutated cancers. Something you might want to try. You know, you can even take green tea, make a batch of it, say 2 liters, let it cool off, filter it, add say 5 grams of vitamin C with it, and the vitamin C will activate the green tea. The antioxidant properties will go off the map, and you may find that it may have an impact on removing some of these cancers. There's a lot of different ways that this can be done, but this is interesting that they presented it in such a way the way they did. We are in a world today that is not at all conducive to life. In fact, it's all about it's all about using you as raw material. I was watching a comic. I was looking at a comic, and I was talking about this in the last show, how they were showing that this tyrant had taken everything that was of men and women and integrated their DNA into their construct or their machinery. Now they want to walk to your home and they want to swab you from your house to make sure everything's okay. Another violation waiting to happen. So like I said, we need to stand up and see what's happening and take a hard look at what's going on, what we can really use to make the benefit of our bodies to stay healthy and stay free and clear. I always re-emphasize that any grain that you're about ready to consume, don't. It's not worth it. Any bread, pasta, rice, or cereal, don't. The nanotechnology will be forever in these things, and once you eat them, they will manifest inside you some way, somehow. So, again, pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Where we at here? All right, tonight's show is going to be a little short. Part of the reason why is because I'm a little tired. It's been a long day, long 2 days actually. And the information I'm putting out to tonight is pretty heavy gun. It may tax some of you. You may get this feeling of hopelessness. Don't worry about that. That's normal. Remember one thing. Somebody asked me today, is it still a good idea to fight? Of course it's a good idea to fight. If we don't fight, it will run roughshod over everything and everybody. The reason why they haven't been able to do that is because there's still on the planet a resistance to what's going on. So, like I said, pay attention to things. Really pay attention. Like I said, things are happening, and when you see these things, like I said, I showed tonight, they're going to be pretty heavy duty. If you don't fight, they will shit on you anyway. They'll walk on you faster. If you do fight, you slow it down. And everybody that fights, one person that wakes up and gets into the battle, brings more and more an opportunity for us to get the upper hand. And we need to make changes in our systems because these systems are no longer working today. So, if you guys get a chance and you go to the different sites, you may see Aromac there, you'll see Brian, you'll see myself. If you want to help any way you can financially, feel free to do so. If you don't have any funds to help in that way, that's fine too. Take the sites and the images and the links, share those with everybody. Share them with everybody. It's important everybody has an opportunity to see and hear what's going on. Alrighty, so until the next segment, to your health, see what you can find out. Talk to you in a bit. Take care.